Welcome ladies and gents, my name is Curci and this is the review for Halo 5 Guardians. I look at Halo 5 from two different perspectives. I first look at it as a video game fan, and I see a game with great gameplay, an addictive multiplayer, and a lackluster story. Then I look at it as a Halo fan, and I still see great gameplay and an addictive multiplayer, but I now see a terrible story. Between the marketing campaign that teased a much better narrative than what we ended up getting, confusing plot points, and bland characters, this game's story is arguably one of the worst in the series. Halo 5 Guardians, to me, a fan of Halo since the very beginning, is a disappointment. Upon starting my Halo 5 experience, I made a beeline for the campaign. The game begins with you taking control of Spartan Jameson Locke, a former ONI agent leading Fireteam Osiris. Making up the team are Buck, Vale, and Tanaka. While I did like that the game did give some degree of details into the individual characters, it wasn't quite as much as I would have liked. For example, there were multiple times when other characters reference Locke's time as an ONI agent, but nothing really goes into full detail. They merely address that he is a man that lacks integrity. In fact, the character of Locke himself is very one-dimensional. He's just a soldier following orders with no connection to the events that transpire, nor any motive to be doing whatever he happens to be doing. He's just a boring character. On the other side is Master Chief and the members of Blue Team, Linda, Fred, and Kelly. This is where my frustrations with the game truly began. According to Halo lore, more specifically the novel Fall of Reach, Blue Team is a team of Spartans that trained together and became a family. They are Master Chief's closest friends, and the novel goes into depth as to just how close they are, something that the game never once explores. In Halo 5 Guardians, these characters aren't given any meaningful character moments like in Fall of Reach. They have little to no dialogue and blindly follow Chief regardless of if it makes sense to or not. Blue Team is just made up of a bunch of faceless, emotionless robots. Even Master Chief himself fails to receive any of the great character moments like those he had in Halo 4. In fact, for the majority of the game, you don't even play as the iconic hero. You instead play as Locke for 80% of the campaign. This was a major disappointment, seeing the main character of the series being severely misused. Aside from the characters, I felt a lot of the other plot points were confusing, with storylines carrying over from Halo 4 not getting resolved, a main plot that doesn't exactly raise the stakes due to the confusing motives of the game's new villain, and other characters that just seem to be shoehorned into the plot. The result is a narrative that is hard to follow and not all that fulfilling as a fan. The gameplay is one of the shining aspects of Halo 5 Guardians, with new gameplay mechanics such as thrusting, ground pound attacks, and the ability to scale objects makes this game much faster. The levels are also well designed as it helps promote these new mechanics. There are alternate paths to explore, secret rooms to uncover, and a wide variety of places that help with verticality. It's so fun to navigate the field. The combat itself feels exactly the way a Halo game should feel, and the weapons are fantastic. One of the other new additions to the game is how you can command your squad mates to do certain tasks. By simply looking at something and pressing up on the D-pad, your allies can take control of a vehicle, pick up a weapon, or prioritize a specific enemy. I was surprised with how much I used this feature, as I constantly had my teammates attacking an enemy while I focused on another, or when I tasked them with destroying an objective while I turned my attention to the enemy units in the area. Even when you run out of health, you don't immediately die, as your allies can revive you. Although it was annoying when your teammates failed to reach you before time runs out. It is very obvious that this game is built to be played with 4 other players. While I thought the AI was competent enough, things are always better when you're playing with friends, which helps with being more strategic as well. Now let's talk about the multiplayer, which is the other shining beacon of Halo 5 and ultimately its saving grace. It is a highly addicting experience as you play the classic Team Slayer, Capture the Flag, and SWAT. It feels like Halo, and with the awesome level designs, it makes these games very competitive and fun. But the headlining new game mode in multiplayer is Warzone. Warzone is very much like a MOBA, which stands for Multiplayer Online Battle Arena. 24 players divided up into 2 teams fight for control of 3 capture points to accumulate points. While this is happening, AI enemies spawn in over time, offering another way for a team to gain points by eliminating these bosses. Each team is also tasked with protecting a core in their respective bases. If one team claims all 3 of the capture points, the enemy core is vulnerable, and if a team successfully destroys it, that team will win regardless of the score. As you play and complete objectives, you gain levels which give you requisition points that can be cashed in for power-ups such as using a special weapon, calling in a vehicle, or activating another sort of power-up like an overshield or active camo. In order to gain more power-ups, you can use points to purchase packs that grant you additional options, or wait to receive packs from ranking up or accomplishing commendations. I really enjoyed this game mode as it has multiple layers that create it. The core and AI adversaries can lead to a come from behind victory, and the wreck points add a bit of resource management. The maps are also well designed, which promotes taking different paths toward an objective, which in turn makes coordinating with teammates much more effective. Overall, I have been enjoying the multiplayer very much. Once you get a grasp of how to best play the game, you'll be racking up the kills and being a strong contributor toward your team's efforts. It's because of the multiplayer that the terrible story can be forgiven in the long run. Looking at Halo 5 Guardians from the perspective of a video game fan, it's a good game, maybe even a great game. Even if the struggles with narrative can be a rough hit for Halo fans who at this point have come to expect good stories, the gameplay and multiplayer are just both fantastic. It all comes down to what you value most, story or gameplay. That being said, the game should still be praised on what it does right. Halo 5 Guardians is a good game, it's just not a good Halo game. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.